Hi friends, happy Friday, Friday Funday. I am just going to put a little bit of lotion on here before we get started because my hands are feeling extra dry and I didn't have time to do it ahead of time. I have had this bottle, do you see how huge it is? I'm sure I got it at Costco. Well, I had it on my desk when I still worked, and I've been retired for 3 or 4 years. I can't keep track now. When did I retire? This is 2022. I've been retired for 4 years. Yep. So that's how old that lotion is, but it still works. I mean, that's a big bottle. And I have a big bottle, well, maybe not quite that big, of the Jergens. I love the smell, that almond smell of Jergens hand lotion. I have that in my bathroom. So, yeah, I wear a lot of lotion. But I don't obviously go through it very fast since I've had it for that long. All right, so gonna do some fun stuff today. I think it's fun anyway. Playing with this. I didn't realize that this was a new release. So this is a fairly new release embossing folder from Tim Holtz. And yeah, so gonna have some fun with that. I'm also going to be using this honeybee, I know you're seeing it backwards, stamp set. This is called Honey Bunnies. Aren't they cute? They're so cute. I'm using this little guy right here, and there are coordinating dies, and the dies cut out everything that's on here. Isn't that nice? So yeah, so the dies are called honey bunnies, honey cuts. So the same name as the stamps. All right, let me get my camera mounted and we will get going. Ooh, you're seeing something there that you probably are wondering, what the heck? There we go. And there is that. I'm also going to be using one of these dies that I got from Amazon, and there's the information. That's the name of who makes the dies. Alina Craft. And I got all of these. You get a lot. And I've shown these in a haul before. But I really like them. So I am going to be using the one that says hello right there. So check that out. I specifically wanted the ones that had the shadow behind the words, and I wanted big words. So these were just what I was looking for. And then I'm going to use which paper is it? This one right here, this flowered paper right here that's from the Fairy Garden Doodlebug pad. And this was a last year's pad, but so you can probably still find it. They're super adorable papers, as you can see. These are all the different designs in the paper pad. All of their paper pads are adorable, really. Okay, so that is what's going on. So over to the side here, I have a little container with water in it that I will be using to help clean things while I'm playing with this embossing folder. And you want to have handy something that you can spritz water with. And I didn't get a piece. I wanted to try this on some dark blue. So let me grab that real quick. because I forgot to come in and cut a piece, so I might have a piece the right size, maybe. No, probably not. So let me just cut that real quick. So I'm just using some navy blue or Night of Navy cardstock from Stampin' Up. And there we go. So we will play with that a bit. So I tried this folder out a little bit yesterday, and I was concerned, if you saw my haul, I was concerned that the gap there was maybe a flaw, but I don't think so. I think that's just the way it comes. And you'll notice that it's a dark color, which is different than normal for embossing folders. I'm just bringing this up on my iPad. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, so what I'm going to do, I think I'll play with white paper first. And actually, I'm gonna spritz all my papers. Let me get something to put underneath of this for a minute. I'm gonna spritz all my papers lightly with water on both sides. Just so that they're not, I don't want them too wet when I put them in the folder. So I'm trying to hold my little spritzer up high. Yeah, you definitely don't want them to be drippy or anything like that when you go to put them in your folder. So that'll give them a minute to get dry. The other thing you want to keep in mind, since your embossing folders are going to be spritzed with water, any little bit of ink that you have on your fingers is going to, or on your work surface, is going to get on them. You know, they're going to pick that ink up. So just something to keep in mind. The reason you want to spritz your paper is because this 3D embossing folder is so detailed and deep that it can just, if you're using lightweight paper or your paper, you didn't spritz your paper, whatever, there's that chance that it could tear. So just little things to keep in mind. All right, so again, here is what the embossing folder looks like. And you can see down here on the front, it says Tim Holtz and Sizzix. That is the side, I'm gonna be inking this up, and that is the side that you want to ink. So that makes it easy. It's kind of the front of the folder. The back of the folder is a little more narrow than the front, which I measured it, and I believe it measures 4 by 6. But the back is just a little bit more narrow than that. Okay, so I'm gonna use a brayer. I'm gonna use a rubber brayer. Brayers come in rubber or they come in foam. And there's uses for both of them, but in this case, I believe the best is to use a rubber brayer. And the color I want to work with, let's just pick a different one than what I played with yesterday. How about pink? That might be fun. Let's do Flirty Flamingo. It's a bit more, well, that might be too bright. No, let's do it. I think that'll be fun. Okay, so I'm going to use this Flirty Flamingo color by Stampin' Up. And I'm just inking up my brayer over here. And I'm going to roll, maybe I should have something under here, so, oh well, it's okay. So I'm just going to roll it over the inside of this embossing folder. And this embossing folder, I got mine on Amazon. I don't remember how much it was. It came really fast. But again, like I said, I didn't realize that this was like a new release. I didn't watch his last release thing. So yeah, it's like one of the new spring things. Okay, so I think that's probably good enough. And like I said, I've got a little container of water over here on the side, so I'm just going to swish my brayer off in that and let the water be dripping out so it will be ready for whatever we play with next. Trying not to get water everywhere. Let me grab some paper towel here. Okay. And I want to close up this embossing folder. And I also want to grab me a wet wipe so that I can keep my fingers clean. Now you don't have to ink up the folder, but that is kind of what the magic is, I think, with this particular embossing folder. Oh, I just knocked my brayer back into the tub of water, and I want it to be dripping dry there. Okay, so my cardstock here is still a little bit damp from spritzing it. And I'm just going to close that, and I'm going to run this through my machine. Now I'm using a Vagabond, which is the electric one. So a Vagabond has the main thick platform, then it's got a little tiny thin plate that sits on that, and then your two cutting plates. So in the case of this one and a Big Shot, I believe, you take the little thin plate off, you only use the base plate and one cutting folder. And you run it back and forth. I did 3 times. So hang tight. I'm going to run that back and forth 3 times. And in the meantime, I'm going to set this cute stamp set here so you have something to look at. Okay, let's see what kind of magic this created. Oh my goodness. It's gorgeous. Do you see how real that looks? So somebody had made a card using this, and I saw it, and I literally thought that she had used a real piece of doily. And then I found out it was an embossing folder, so that's when I jumped right on and had to look for it and buy it. It's so pretty. So pretty. Okay, so that was the color Flirty Flamingo. So let me just, oh, there goes my brayer again. I don't have it. Yesterday, it just set right up on the edge there. So nice. Let me dry it off real quick and then get that ink cleaned off of that folder. So you can run it under, you know, under the tap in your sink and just rinse it off really easy that way. I'm just going to swish it in my little tub here real quick. And try not to make a watery mess. And I will just pat it dry here. Yeah, that turned out so pretty. It's amazing the detail that they can get with these embossing folders now. There's some color on that side that I didn't see. Thanks for joining me, you guys. If you're new to my channel, please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And if you are a regular subscriber, thanks for joining me, hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Don't be afraid to chat, because that makes it fun for me to see who's visiting and from where. Okay, so I'm just trying to get the water out of the nooks and crannies without pressing too much, because I don't want to get little fibers down in there. Okay, I think that turned out really pretty. And so let's try the navy blue cardstock. And hopefully, because yeah, it's still feeling damp because I spritzed it earlier. And we'll try something a little different with that. I'm not going to ink the folder up this time. Oopsie. Got it a little extra wet down there. There we go. So I will just get it put in here. Let me pull it all the way down to the end there. All right, I'm going to run that through my machine again. Be right back. Alrighty. So there it is. And you can see that texture on there. So we're going to try something a little different, kind of do the opposite of what we did the first time. I'm going to grab some white craft ink. This is a pigment ink from Stampin' Up. And I'm going to use my brayer again. Let me make sure there's no, I don't want any water dripping out. No drips. Okay. Okay, let me ink this up with the white. Just experimenting, you guys. Isn't that the fun of getting something new? All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to push my brayer down, so I'm not going to give any, I'm not going to put any weight on it as best as I can. I'm just going to lightly, I'm just going to set it on there and lightly roll over that design. Trying only to pick up, see, it's going to pick up some because the paper is not completely flat. But I'm just trying to pick up the design as best as I can. So as long as you don't push down, and I thought about using the sponge brayer for this doing it this way, but a sponge sprayer would get down into the nooks and crannies of behind the doily part, and I didn't want to do that. So as long as you're just barely rolling it along, it does pretty good about only picking up the design. And see, I can trim that top edge off where it picked it up a little bit on the background. And I think I'm just going to leave it alone because look how pretty that is. That came out pretty darn good, I think. Maybe just a little bit here. I'll try. Okay, that's a little better. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay, let me get this ink off this sprayer. Now they had in these 3D ones that they just released on this last one, there were a few other designs, but this was definitely, I think, the most beautiful one. But there is one that kind of makes it look quilted. So that one was pretty cool too. All right. The white doesn't like to come off as well as the colors. So I'm just going to set that there and get this white put away. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. I think that's really pretty. So it would be really pretty on any dark colored cardstock. You could do the same thing with silver pigment ink or gold. Wouldn't that be gorgeous? All right, let me get a piece of scrap paper here. I just want to roll this brayer off some and make sure that I'm getting all that white ink off of there. Because it's pigment, it likes to stick a little more than the dye ink does. All right. So let's try one more color. So pretty. Okay. Because I've got another piece over here that I had spritzed earlier. Oh, what color should I try this time? How about, I'm trying, ooh. How about brown? I know, you guys are going, brown? Use a pretty color. Well, we did pretty colors, and I've got more pretty colors to show you, but I haven't done anything like brown, so I'm gonna do brown. So this is soft suede is what I grabbed, which is another Stampin' Up color. Now you could use, I'm sure you could use distress inks as well. So I've got this really inked up here. I'm just thinking brown might be pretty because you could really, now brown on cream colored cardstock would be really gorgeous probably, because that would look, that would have like a real vintage feel to it, I think. But I've already spritzed this white one, so I'm just going to use that. Uh-oh. Dropped a drip of water out of there. So that, and there's another one. So that's going to leave some, well, I'll tell you what, we can enhance that once I'm done. If it leaves some funny marks there. We can just enhance that. All right. Wipe my fingers. Okay, I'm going to run this through, and then this will be the last sample I'm going to make, and then I'm going to do a card. I will be right back. Very pretty. Okay. I just wanted to get the ink off of this folder so that it doesn't dry on there. That turned out pretty, I think. Okay, let me set that aside. So here are the 3 different ones that we did today. Very fun, I think. I am loving this embossing folder. Okay, so I'm going to let these dry, and I will show you. I've got some that I did from yesterday. This was using Balmy Blue ink. This was my first one. This was my first try here, and you can see my mistakes. So I had spritzed my paper far too much. So you just want to do that light spritzing. So you can see what happened there because my paper was too wet. So I learned from that mistake. Now this can still be used because, you know, I can cut away that and then we could put flowers or something up here. So this could still be used. Or you can tear bits and pieces. If you go on, if you are more interested in this and would like to see more things, I saw a really beautiful card that someone made, and they tore a piece of this off and put up, you know, layered it up in the corner and stuff. So yeah, I saw a few videos out there, but not too many, and that's when I realized, went back and looked, and it's like, okay, I didn't realize that this embossing folder was basically brand new. Okay, so let's get started making the card. Get all my little parts and pieces here. So here's another one. This one was using Highland Heather. And that is like one of my favorite colors that Stampin' Up! Has. And so what I am going to do here is just fussy cut around the design edge of this and get rid of this space right here. And it's really easy to cut around this design. You wouldn't think so, but it actually is. And I think it's because it's raised up. It just makes it easier. to cut around it. And besides that, just because of the design of it, you don't have to be real perfect. Fussy cutting is not one of my loves. But sometimes you just gotta do it. All right. So it does not take that long. I have done a little bit of thread crochet. I've never made a doily per se. I did make some like old-fashioned pin cushion things that were heart-shaped that you crochet with that crochet thread, and so it's doily-ish, you know, which goes over the top of a satin little heart-shaped pillow that you create that goes inside. And they were really pretty. I did that way back in the day for when I took part in craft fairs. I mostly crochet with just regular yarn and cotton yarn and not the crochet thread. That takes some patience. Okay, almost done here with this. There we go. And then I will determine if I need to trim anything further off of that as we go. So here's that fun piece of Doodlebug paper that I'm going to be using. And I've got a piece of Spectrum Noir paper here that I am going to stamp the little bunny on so that I can color it with the Copic markers. These bunnies are so cute. I'm just going to stamp it out with black Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I'm just making sure I'm leaving enough room to be able to die cut that out. Cute. Okay, so I have just a few markers here, the same colors that I've colored bunnies with in the past, and so I'm going to use a little bit of rose pink, which is R81, inside the ears here. Like that, and then I will come back and give this bunny some pink cheeks too before it's all done. All right, so now I'm using a little BG90, which is Gray Sky. Not a lot, but just a little. Such narrow little places to color here. All right, and then I'm just going to go around the inside here of the bunny's face. And the body. I don't have to do a lot with the body because not much of the body is actually going to be showing, but a little bit. But I don't have to worry about it too much. I know none of that down there is going to be showing. Okay, so we can just leave that at that. I think I will put just a little bit around the eyes and the mouth. There. Okay. So I'm going to take my blender here, colorless blender, and I'm just going to blend the pink here on the ears. And maybe a little bit on the inside of the heart. Just a little. We'll see if I might not like that after it dries. We'll see. I might go back over it. Okay, and then I've got E71, which is champagne. And I'm just going to do a little. Just a little. Just a little. Don't get carried away. Okay. Like I said, not much of this, of the body is actually going to show. But, all right, we'll go with that. And then let me come back in with the gray sky and blend that. Hubby and I are going to have some Chinese food tonight. We're going to go to the restaurant and eat too. It's date night, Friday night date night. We try to have a date night every Friday night. And a lot of times our date night consists of going and getting food somewhere and taking it to down to the jetty where the boats, the fishing boats come and go, and sit there and watch the activity in the jetty. The jetty's pretty long coming into our bay here. And so sometimes, depending on the weather and what they're fishing for, sometimes there's lots of boats coming and going, and sometimes there's not. But it's just enjoyable because there's always sea lions out there. A lot of times there's divers out there. I'm not sure if they're diving for crab or if they're diving for fish. We've never quite figured out what they're diving for down there, but there's rocks, some rock ledges that go out from the side along the jetty there, and that's where they dive. And then all the different seabirds. You just never know what you're gonna see down there, and then usually we're there when the sun sets, and that's always beautiful. Okay, so I'm not fussing with the lower part of the body much because like I said, that's not really going to show too much. So let me bring the colorless blender in now and we'll blend this out. And I don't need to do too much to the ears here, but I'll give it a little go over. All right. Now let me come back in and give that bunny some little pink cheeks. There we go. Cute. And I love that there's dies because that just makes everything so much faster. Okay, I think I've got it. Okay, let me cut this out and I'll be right back. Oh, and let's see. While I'm doing that, I may as well cut out the hello and just do it in all one time here. So I will get my little scraps for that. And that's going to go on that, and this is going to go on there. So, okay, I'll be right back. I'm curious if I make you guys fall asleep. And the reason I'm asking that is because that's what happens to me. I'll be all excited to watch somebody's video, and especially people that I really enjoy watching their videos. And a lot of times they just have super soothing voices, and I think it's just because it's something I enjoy so much that then it's relaxing and I fall asleep, and I'll wake up when the video's over or it's gone on to the next person's video or something, and it's like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep. Now I have to go back again and find where I drifted off so that I can finish watching that video. That's what happens to me anyway. So I always wonder if that happens to people when they're watching my video. Okay, there's that, and I will worry about that later. Okay, so I've made a white card base here. I've got my doily piece. I've got that fun piece there from Doodlebug, and I have an inside piece. So let me see how I cut this here. All right, so I've got it cut to, I wasn't, because some of these I cut out at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and some I cut out at 4 by 5 1/4. So this must have been a 4 1/4 or a 4 by 5 1/4. So what I'm going to do is glue it on, and then I'm going to trim just a little bit of the top off there. But I think that looks so cute with that pretty paper peeking from behind that gorgeous doily. And I chose that paper pad because that particular one has had the lavender in it, which is pretty much the same color of lavender as the Stampin' Up! Highland Heather. I started to say as our color, but I'm not a demonstrator anymore, so I can't call it like that. Okay. You think you got it going straight, and then it goes wonky. All right, there we go. You want to get plenty of adhesive on the back of your doily piece because we've spritzed it with water for one thing, and then just running it through that heavy-duty embossing folder makes it kind of, you know, warpy. So you just want to get plenty of adhesive on the back so that it will lay nice and flat. I did go over these yesterday because I did wet these ones down a little more than the ones I did today. I did go over them with my heat tool. But the ones I did today, I don't think I needed to do that so much because I didn't get them as wet. So I'm just going to trim a touch off of this. Just like that. Very cute. Okay. Now then, let me get that onto the card base. I was just double checking to make sure I wanted to do it onto a white card base. I keep bumping the camera with the bill of my hat. So sorry about that. All right, so there we go with that. And then I've got these little guys. So I need some liquid glue here. And I'm just going to put a little bit here on the back of this. Hello. I'm trying to go very lightly because I don't want it oozing out. All right. I just love these words. They're so cute. Okay, now I'm going to use a little Wink of Stella here and sparkle up the letters, just the white part. Now you could do the same thing with some Nouveau drops, I think, or stickles. But this brush tip makes it pretty easy. It just, I mean, it gives it that glistening sparkle, but not as glittery and sparkly as, say, stickles would do. Either of those would be very pretty, I think, though. I've been trying to do all of my cards this month with bunnies so that I can use Anna White's hashtag of Bunnies of March. Okay, so I'm going to put a little glue on the back of my hello. Let me bring my silicone mat back in here. Oh, that little bunny's just cute, I think. All right, let me put a little glue back here. Hello. All right, now we're going to do some popping up. I get a little carried away with these sometimes, I think. And I better put just a couple of little ones so that we don't have any bendy going on right there. I think I got plenty on there. What do you think? That ought to do the trick. Okay. Hello. So cute. Okay. Then I've got an extra little strip of this patterned paper to do my little thing inside that I like to do. Sometimes I'll do little banner pieces coming down from the top, but I just always have these extra strips, so may as well make use of them, I say. There we go. And I like a card like this because if you just leave the inside blank, you can then go back in and stamp it with whatever you might need at the time, because where it just says hello on the front, it can be any kind of card. It can be birthday, it can be thinking of you, it can be get well soon, it can be anything. It can be thank you. So it's nice to just have something extra Now I could put some rhinestones on, some blingety bling bling of some kind, maybe. I didn't on my sample card. Let me bring it in. So this was my sample, so I did it that opposite way. I just put a piece of white paper in, and then I went over it afterwards lightly with the brayer and made the doily green. And I did that like the, where'd our navy blue piece go? So like I did with the white on the navy blue, I did the green on the white there. And then there's that one from earlier, and the brown. And this was balmy blue. And then my first one that I messed up. And I did that with, what color did, oh, I did this with Mary Merlot. Yeah, it was too wet. So a very, very fun embossing folder to play with. And I just love it. I love this on the Highland Heather. I think that turned out really pretty. Yeah, and you can most certainly go back and put some bling on it. This one, see, I cut it, I brought it up higher than I did with this one. So it just depends on how much of your card you want showing. And I think I cut a little more off over here. Yeah, I did. I cut a little more off. Very fun embossing folder. Let me put my ugly one to the back there. And I will fan these out and set them down. Yeah. So if you like that embossing folder, like I said, I got mine on Amazon. It came really quick. I don't remember how much I paid for it. But it's just simply called Doily, and it's a Tim Holtz embossing folder, Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder. All right, thanks so much for joining me. I will be back on tomorrow, hopefully, with a Saturday morning makes video. I've made stuff throughout the week that I will have to share in that video. And there will be lots of other people participating, and you can participate as well. All you do is make something, whatever that might be. Doesn't have to be a card. It can be anything. Make a pot holder. Do you sew? Whatever you do. Take a picture of it and load it up to Instagram, or do a video and load it up to YouTube and hashtag it with SatMornMakes, and you're all set. All right, see you in my next video. Happy stamping, happy crafting, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.